A surprising day. The day started off perfectly. I managed to avoid the usual morning traffic on my way to work, and when I arrived at the office, a rare miracle occurred. A parking spot right by the front door. About an hour later, my secretary, Natalie, peeked into my office and said, "Tom Snelling is on line 2 for you." I picked up the phone, greeted him, and listened as Tom shared some fantastic news. After carefully considering his options, he had decided to sign the contract. This was no ordinary deal. It was one I had been working on for almost 2 months, worth over $6 million for our company. As we spoke, Tom informed me that he had already faxed the signed contract. I thanked him sincerely and, after hanging up, walked straight to the fax machine. Sure enough, there it was. With the contract in hand, I headed to my boss Barry's office. Barry is the owner of the company, and I was excited to share the good news. His secretary confirmed he was available, so I stepped in and handed him the document. "I'm here to brighten your day," I said with a smile. Barry reviewed the contract and grinned. He admitted that he never thought I'd get anywhere with Snelling since others had tried and failed. Then he mentioned something even better. My bonus for the deal would be, in his words, obscenely large. He wrapped up by telling me to get back to work. Later that morning, at around 11 o'clock, Barry's secretary, Stella, called to say Barry needed to see me urgently. When I entered his office, he didn't even let me sit down. He got straight to the point. As of noon, I was the new vice president of sales. My first assignment in this new role was to smooth things over with Mike Thomas, one of our biggest clients in Dallas. Stella had already prepared the travel details, and I thanked her but assured her I could manage the trip myself. Back at my desk, I tried to call my wife, Terry, to share the good news. She wasn't at work, so I left a message and decided to head home to pack for the trip. A shocking discovery. When I arrived home, I noticed Terry's car in the driveway. That was unusual for this time of day. Parking behind her, I walked inside and immediately realized something was wrong. The unmistakable sounds of her voice, intimate and full of passion, echoed through the house. Following the noise to our bedroom, I stood in the doorway, stunned. There was Terry with her boss, Randall Cunningham. They were so engrossed in each other that they didn't even notice me standing there. Quietly, I took out my phone and snapped a series of photos, ensuring their faces were clear. Without saying a word, I left the house and drove straight to Terry's office. There, I asked to speak with Bart Sampson, her company's manager. Bart and I were on friendly terms. After greeting me, he said, "If you're here to take Terry to lunch, you've wasted your time. She's not here." "I know exactly where she is," I replied, "and who she's with. Let me show you something." I showed him the photos, and his expression hardened. "When did you take these?" he asked. "About 30 minutes ago," I said. At my house, Bart sighed and picked up his phone. After checking his records, he called Terry's cell. When she answered, he said coldly, "Terry, your husband is here in my office. He just showed me some very disturbing pictures of you and Randall, taken at his home about half an hour ago. You both need to return here, collect your personal belongings, and visit HR to collect your final paychecks. I don't want either of you in this building after 5 p.m. today." After a brief pause, he added, "No, Terry, we have nothing to discuss. Goodbye." A new chapter. Bart hung up and apologized. "Rob, I had no idea this was happening. What are you going to do?" "I'm divorcing her," I said simply. "What about my company?" he asked. "Nothing," I replied. "It's clear you had no idea what was going on. I'm just sorry I won't see you at company events anymore." As I stood to leave, Bart stopped me. "One more thing, see a lawyer, and call me next week. I've never done business with your company before because of Terry, but now that she's out of the picture, I'd love to discuss opportunities." I smiled and assured him I'd call. Then, with a mix of emotions, I left to prepare for my trip to Dallas.